San Juan, Puerto Rico. When Hurricane Maria destroyed the infrastructure of Puerto Rico, it turned the mayor of its capital city into a spokeswoman for a stranded people. Carmen Yulín Cruz Soto told the world of the horror she was seeing as she waded through San Juan's flooded streets, and the desperation on the island, parts of which may remain without power for months. Until then, Cruz had not been a well-known politician outside the island. But after she criticized Washington's response to the hurricane this week, "Save us from dying," she pleaded on cable network. President Trump took direct aim at her on Twitter. "Such poor leadership ability by the mayor of San Juan," he wrote Saturday. "Democrats must have told her to say nasty things about him," he claimed. Since the president brought it up, we present below the historical record of the leadership of Cruz, before and after the storm. The island Cruz has, in some ways, been a lifelong politician, class president in 8th grade, student council president in high school. Like many Puerto Ricans, she left the island to pursue opportunities on the mainland, earning a bachelor's in political science at Boston University and a master's in public management and policy at Carnegie Mellon. She stayed on the mainland for many years, according to her official biography, and worked her way up to the position of Human Resources Director at several companies, including Scotiabank and the U.S. Treasury Department. In a 2014 interview with a small New York newspaper, Cruz described the tug-of-war she and other Puerto Ricans often feel between the mainland and their home island. "I often say to my friends that I felt too Puerto Rican to live in the States, then I felt too American to live in Puerto Rico," she said. "So when I settled back in Puerto Rico in 1992, I had to come to terms with all of that." After 12 years on the mainland, Cruz returned to her island to plunge back into politics. She became an advisor to Celia Maria Calderón, a San Juan mayor who later became Puerto Rico's only female governor. With the experience she gained under Calderón, Cruz ran in 2000 for a seat in Puerto Rico's House of Representatives. She lost that race, but in 2008 she ran again and won. "Politics is a rough game, and sometimes as females we are taught that you have to play nice," she said in a 2014 interview. "Sometimes you can't play nice." A new mayor as the race for mayorship of her hometown approached in 2012, she waffled publicly on whether to become a candidate. At first she denied any plans to run. Once she entered the race, she strung together a series of small coalitions, including the LGBT community, students, Dominican immigrants and taxi drivers, to form a base of support. Such allies helped her defeat a formidable opponent, a 3-time incumbent, Jorge Santini. "People don't realize they have the power," she recalled in an interview several years later. "People don't realize that if they come together, there are more of them than those who occupy the seat that I'm in right now." Puerto Rico's politics are largely defined by their relationship with the mainland and whether the island should remain a U.S. territory, gain statehood or vie for independence. Cruz's party, the Popular Democratic Party, campaigns to maintain Puerto Rico's status as an unincorporated, self-governed U.S. territory. But in her trips to the United States since winning office, Cruz has at times advocated for more independence. She once went before Congress to ask that Puerto Rico, crippled by debt, be able to reorganize under bankruptcy laws, and thereafter enter into commercial agreements with other countries. "Puerto Rico has been denied these tools far too long," Cruz said in 2015. "And as long as our options are defined by the powers of this Congress, we will always be at your mercy. The measure of our success will always be limited by the vastness of your control over our affairs." 2 years later, Hurricane Maria has made the island's many dependencies all too apparent. The storm Maria flooded roads, destroyed phone lines and cut the island's lifeline of goods from the mainland. With limited communications and little help from the outside world in the first days after the hurricane, the mayors of Puerto Rico became the highest form of authority for many residents. Cruz worked nearly non-stop on the ground, walking the capital's streets and doing what she could for those she met. In an interview with a Washington Post reporter just 3 days after the storm, she described what she was seeing. "There is horror in the streets," she said at the time. "Sheer pain in people's eyes. The city's hospitals had no power. Much of the country would not have electricity until 2018, she said. Looters were already taking over some streets after dark. The few residents who still had gasoline and drinking water were quickly running out. Cruz had written to scores of other mayors. "There's no way